The Blue October roller coaster rolls on. The Cubs take back home field advantage with a blowout victory. The Dodgers self-destructed. And the Cub bats came alive. A little small ball and a lot of long ball evens up the series. Will the Cubs go home with a chance to make history and clinch an invite in the World Series? It's Game 5 of the NLCS, and it's Blue October. The Cubs chose to live, not die in L.A., setting up tonight's Game 5, tied at 2 games apiece. California cool Joe Madden kept his team loose, swinging the momentum back in their favor tonight. John Lester hopes to show the baseball world he is the best pitcher on the planet during this series. It's Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. Hi, everyone. I'm Lou Canellis. Welcome to Blue October, our Cubs pregame show here on Fox 32 Chicago as we get you set for Game 5 of the NLCS between the Cubs and Dodgers. The series tied at 2 games apiece. My partner, former Cub Bobby Dernier. I know I slept a heck of a lot better last night. I'm sure Chicago Cub fans back home slept a heck of a lot better last night. Did you?
Yeah, I did. And you know,
how do you think the Cubs slept?
Well, they slept like babies. I mean, they're young and they can sleep in. I get it. But the stomach feels better today. I think there was a little nervous tension going on for all of us as Cub fans. But once you're out here to the ballpark, everything calms down no matter what's going on. And I'm sure they're going to be ready to go today, Luke.
Joe Madden keeping this team really laid back. Let's look back at what happened in last night's Game 4. What an explosion, offensive explosion for the Cubs in this game. Late arriving crowd for Game 4. Really? Who's kidding? I've spent 3 days here. It's always late arriving in L.A. Cubs bats finally heated up with the 90-degree weather here in L.A. 4th inning, Wilson Contreras singles to left. Good throw would have gotten Ben Zobrist, but the throw was way off. Cubs off and running. Addison Russell breaks out of his series-long drought. Homers to right center. 2-run shot, 4-0 Cubs. 5th inning, Anthony Rizzo showing off Matt Caesar's bat, and it worked. A solo shot to almost the same spot as Russell's. 5-0 Cubs. Russell, Rizzo, Zobrist, the heart of that order that has struggled, combined to go 8 for 15, 2 home runs, 5 RBI, 5 runs scored. Cubs win Game 4, 10-2, evening up the series at 2 games apiece. Afterwards, the Cubs met with the media.
It's contagious, just like the lack of it's contagious. When you start hitting, it is contagious. Defense, this whole game really follows itself, kind of. So I like the team on the field. That's the team that got all those wins this year, so I was very comfortable with it.
You got to be ready for that big situation, and all the guys in the clubhouse are there telling you, all the veterans, you know, it's just one. It takes one at bat. It just takes one. So it's all about winning games, and we came up on a good side tonight.
Really wasn't panicking, really wasn't nervous. It was just more of, you know, my teammates know what I have to bring to the plate, and definitely want to display that here in the postseason.
Honestly, sometimes you can get a little bit too carried away. I mean, we were down 2-1, you know, a couple hours ago, and now all of a sudden we're great again. It's 2-2. You guys over dramatize everything. So tomorrow's another game. We are in Hollywood.
Leave it to Lackey to make everyone laugh in the locker room afterwards. All right, before we get into Rizzo and Russell, to me, the key hit in that 4th inning was your cleanup hitter, Ben Zobrist, laying down a perfect bunt for a single.
Yeah, there's little things, you know, and that got everything going offensively. But even before that, Contreras, you know, making a play, that dive tag at the play, and then to throw it at second base, zipping a guy backdoor pickoff. those little things stack up before all the big bombs started hitting. Little things like Zobrist bunt.
All right, let's talk about Matt Caesar's bat playing a role in last night's win. If you're just hearing this, Anthony Rizzo struck out his first 2 times using his own bat. Then he used Matt Caesar's bat, and he had 2 singles and a home run. I mean, is it that easy for a player to use someone else's bat and go up there and do what he did?
No, a bat's personal. It's kind of like, it's your dog or your girlfriend or wife. I mean, you picked that out. It's a personal thing. But Rizzo's done that before with Matt's bat. And, I loved seeing just that number 20 at the end of it. Kind of gave me a little juice, a little extra feel good about that whole episode. And Rizzo needed it. He was willing to try something different. Grabbed number 20's bat, and off we went.
He looked a lot different taking batting practice today, a lot looser out there. More smiles from Anthony Rizzo. All right, let's bring in the third member of our broadcast crew here in Los Angeles for Blue October, George Smith, who has a nice story on Rizzo's use of Matt Caesar's bat last night. George?
Yeah, that's right, guys. Look, if you're having some troubles, turn to a little help from a friend. He borrowed that bat, proceeded to hit a home run, and snapped a 2-for-29 playoff slump. And then he delivered later on a 2-run single, overall 3-for-5 last night with 3 runs batted in. So what is the deal with that bat?
I've done it a few times, especially later on in the year. Especially today, first 2 at-bats weren't so hot. C's came out today with a nice feature on him about him giving his bone marrow. So all the things were just adding up. I hit well with his bat, so he has hits in it. And same size, just different model and different name, and it worked.
I offered it last night. He's always gets hits with it, and he just stayed with it.
So the first 2 at-bats, the strikeouts, he didn't have any?
No, I swear. I'm not making this up. I know. I think it's funny that this is all happening right now. I'm not even on the roster, and I'm getting interviewed. These guys are probably looking at me like I'm crazy.
By the way, Caesar said Rizzo does not owe him anything for loaning him that bat. He said Rizzo is a pretty generous guy and often picks up the tab for dinner. So, Lou, the big question is, will Rizzo use that bat again tonight? Well, we didn't get a chance to talk to him, but my best guess is yes. Back to you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on that one, George. Listen, we brought in a Hall of Famer to ask that question to. Part of the Daily Double, along with my partner, Bobby Dernier, Ryan Sandberg. Question is asked, do you think Rizzo uses Matt Caesar's bat again tonight?
I would if I was him. The bat's hot. It'll be hopping over there in the bat rack waiting for Riz to pick it up, but we'll see. But I like the adjustment last night. For sure, that worked for him.
And real quick, I know he did it maybe rarely, but whose bat did you pick up if you needed to do that?
As a young player, I picked up Davey Lopes' bat, and I just liked the feel of it. It was a different model, and so I had a Rondak make a couple dozen of those, and I got those with my own name on it. But it was a Davey Lopes model. But it was, for me, it was trying to something different and just to change the feel of everything.
Rhino, you were a player, you were a manager on this level. Did you like the way Joe Madden helped the panic state of Chicago, but his baseball team as well? Kept going with the same guys that brought him to the dance.
Well, I like that. He has a lineup and some guys that have come through for him. 103 wins. You got to stick with those guys. If a guy's in a slump and it's postseason, that could be a guy that could get hot because he's due. So it's good to see those. Russell and Rizzo break out last night in a big way, and I think that'll carry over into tonight. But Joe Madden's been behind his team and his players all year long. He's been behind all 25 guys, actually, giving them all chances to do what they do. But to stick with the main guys sends a good message to the whole lineup and the whole team.
Rhino, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Rhino.
They pull this one out. They go back to Chicago up 3-2.
I like that, yeah. And I think Kershaw's gettable if it's a do-or-die situation. Second time around, seeing him just 1 week apart, I think the guys will make an adjustment and get the Cubs back to Wrigley Field and that atmosphere I think Kershaw would have some problems in Game 6.
I like the way you're thinking. Ryan Sandberg, the Hall of Famer, joining us here on Blue October. Lots more to go on the show. Coming up after a timeout, we'll bring in Dane Placco and also another former teammate of my partners, Ron Cey, the Penguin, here in Los Angeles as we continue with our pregame show live from Dodger Stadium on Fox 32 Chicago. Welcome back to Game 5 of the NLCS, live from Dodger Stadium. Blue October here on Fox 32 Chicago. John Lester on the hill for the Cubs. Tonight, in between my partner, Bobby Dernier, and I, guy who I loved watching, the Penguin, Ron Cey, joins us. I know you spent 12 seasons with the Dodger organization, 4 in Chicago. Joe Madden told me a couple of weeks ago that every player, coach, manager during his career should have the opportunity to be a Chicago Cub for even just one season of his career. You agree?
Oh, well, we had a great time in '84, as you well know, and unfortunately, we lost that final game in the NLCS to San Diego, but that was a team that had bigger and better things to have accomplished, and I'm like everybody else, with Bobby. That was a great club. We had a lot of great chemistry, a lot of good players. We had the Cy Young Award winner that year in Sutcliffe with the MVP in Sandberg, and so we had a really bunch of great guys, and I wish we could have pulled that one off.
Yeah, and we got a lot of fun memories. We revisit it occasionally on the phone or underneath having a bite to eat. But one of the things that hit me right in the heart, Ron has a couple granddaughters. They're like 1 and 2 years old. So give me a little take on what that's like for you.
New experience, great experience. So I love it. I'm willing to help out in any way I can. But my daughter is up in Mill Valley, just over the bridge from San Francisco. She's got a 2-year-old coming up. And Ayabella, and my other granddaughter is just 1, and her name is Sophia, so I'm having a great time with my grandkids.
Is that the one climbing on you the other day?
She was dropping the remotes on my head.
Like Dernier used to when you guys used to play together. What was it like to have him as a teammate? We had Sandberg just on a moment ago. Right. The 3 of you.
Yeah, well, I mean that was a really good time. We had a really good nucleus of players. Bobby and Rhino hitting the top of the lineup. The Chicago fans remember the Daily Double back in '84. That was quite a combo, and then we had a good middle of the lineup, and we had a good solid 5 in the rotation, and Lee Smith in the bullpen. So yeah, we should have done a little bit more.
People don't remember you actually led that team in home runs and RBIs. I think you had 25 dingers and 95 ribbies.
97, and we were going.
Thanks for correcting me. I'm glad he remembers.
That's all right.
And he had a 3-run dinger taken away against the Reds.
Yeah, I did. Instant replay we didn't have back then. So
you look like you could still play.
You're very kind. I have way too much arthritis, and I had to get about halfway to home plate last night to throw out the first pitch. So those days are long gone.
What was that experience like, throwing the first pitch before a game that pitched 2 teams that you used to play for here in L.A.?
Well, I have the best of both worlds as far as watching this thing come down. I've been an employee here for 35 years, 15 as a player, 20 as an employee upstairs, inner office. I got my 2 favorite teams, and to have that experience, and you got to love Joe Madden. To play for the Cubs and actually be a part of something that hasn't happened very many times. Regardless of how this comes out, we're going to have a very happy fan base. We haven't been in the World Series since '88, and the Cubs, that history. So either way, somebody's going to come out of this being very happy.
Ron, thanks so much for joining us here on Blue October.
Thanks, Biggie.
Ron Cey, the Penguin, who brought us great memories for 4 seasons during the 80s. All right, let's bring in the 4th member of our broadcast crew here for Blue October, Dane Placco. Yesterday, he was surfboarding in Santa Monica. I don't know what the heck he did today, but wherever Dane is around Los Angeles, let's throw it to him. Dane?
Hey, Lou, let's talk about a subject near and dear to your heart, food. Now, I don't know if you had a chance to try the Dodger dogs out here at Dodger Stadium yet. So-so. Certainly doesn't stack up to a Chicago-style hot dog. So where do all the Cubs fans out here in L.A. go to get a little taste of home? Well, I found a place. It's called Taste Chicago in Burbank, about 20 minutes from here. Chicago-style hot dogs, Italian beef, deep dish pizza. Now get this, it's owned by Chicago actor Joe Mantegna, who actually invited us to his shooting location today just to talk about the Cubs.
How much do I love the Cubs? I'm on location for Criminal Minds. I'm getting my hair cut, gonna do my makeup, and I'm still here for the Cubs. This is a new day, new time. I love the team. I mean, Tom Ricketts has done a great job. Epstein's done a great job. The players are doing their job. The city's doing its job. Hey, look, regardless of what happens, you know, the world will keep spinning on its axis, and if not now, another time. But I got a feeling this could be it.
Mantegna says his place is going to be packed tonight with Cubs fans, transplanted Chicagoans watching the ball game. He says they do sell beer, so they'll have that. They'll have the Chicago-style hot dogs, all the other food. He says there'll be a line out the door. So if you can't make it into the ballpark out here, I guess that's where to go. He also, remember, helped write the play Bleacher Bum back in the 1970s. One of the themes of that play is what would happen if the Cubs won the World Series. How would that change our world? We'll talk a little bit more about that tonight in our 9 o'clock newscast. Lou, back to you.
All right, great job there, Dane. I love that he got Joe, and I'm hoping that Joe ends up coming to Chicago for the World Series. Yeah, I'm confident that this team's going to the World Series against the Indians. We need to take another break here on Blue October. Coming up, we've got my partner, Bobby Dernier's keys to the game. We'll talk about the pitching matchup. John Lester on the hill. All comes your way next here on Blue October on Fox 32 Chicago. There's a shot at David Ross, who will catch his buddy John Lester. Game 5 of the National League Championship Series coming up here from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Blue October here on Fox 32 Chicago. Bobby Dernier, Lou Canellis. Let's bring back George Smith. George?
Lou, another story about Anthony Rizzo. It happened in the 5th inning last night. He didn't like a strike call against him. Thought it was a ball, dropped his bat, started walking to first base, and he let the umpire know he didn't like it when he got back into the batter's box. But then when he came to the plate again a couple of innings later, he apologized. Listen.
My fault on that. My fault on that.
Oh, what, brother?
Well,
come on, you're good, bro. Come on, you're awesome. You're awesome with us.
I don't like it.
No worries. You're competing, I understand. Don't worry. And you know what's best of it? You come back and you tell me that. That's how good of a guy you are. You kidding me? Thanks.
I don't like showing up the umpires. They're out here working their tails off. 162 like we are. There's no home for them. They're on the road the entire season. So just let him know that, hey, my fault there. I probably should have waited a little longer to not just assume it was a ball. And that's just the way I'm at. They're working as hard as we were working, and it's just different perspectives.
So after being unhappy with the umpire in that very same at-bat, he hit a home run. So, Lou, in the end, things worked out just fine. Back to you.
Hey, it's okay to say I'm sorry. Have you ever apologized to an umpire?
Oh, no doubt. I think that's smart business right there with Anthony. It's always important to treat the guy like you want to be treated, really. Guys make mistakes, but if you're a guy that's always ripping umpires, you're going to pay the consequences of that as well. So.
All right, we need to take our final time out here on Blue October. Coming up, we'll have Bobby's keys to the game, and we'll look at tonight's starting pitchers as we continue here on Fox 32 Chicago, live from Los Angeles. Pitching matchup tonight, the ace, John Lester against Kenta Maeda. Lester's second time. He pitched Game 1 of the National League Championship Series against the Dodgers. Second look for the Dodgers at Lester. Does that work against him?
No, I think it works for us. He's handled this lineup before, Lou. And also, the Dodgers have had their struggles against left-handers, as we know. So we got our ace out there tonight. We know what that means. We got to have it.
Maeda's been horrible in his last 4 starts, including 2 in the playoffs. 0-3, a 9.88 earned run average. This guy hasn't lasted 5 innings in any of those 4 starts.
No, it's another opportunity to get in their bullpen prior to the Jansen innings, and that's what I'm looking for tonight. First couple of innings going to be hard to see. It's a little shadowy, but once we get into the second time around the lineup, we're looking for another one of those jagged numbers in the middle for the Cubs on top of the Dodgers early to give Lester that lead to work with.
All right, let's break down this one with the lineups first, and then we'll get to your keys to the game. Starting lineup for the Cubs there, really no change. Fowler, Bryant, Rizzo, Zobrist, Baez, Hayward stays in there, Russell, Ross into the lineup tonight, but he always catches Lester.
Yeah, the quarterback's there. Lester's got to have him. You know, Zobrist, Baez, they've been kind of monsters for us lately. We really need them. That's going to help Anthony in front of him, and it's going to help Hayward behind him.
All right, how about your keys to the game?
Well, number one, you know, can you beat an ace? The hands are going to be out there tonight. You're pushing the chips in the middle. For us, that's our guy tonight. And then we got to keep producing offensive energy. We saw that last night, a 4-run, a 5-run inning. And then finally, the baseball card game for me is between Madden and Roberts, and who trumps who.
How do you think Joe's done so far in this series against Dave Roberts?
You know, he's the guy I'm picking to be the last guy at the table. And we'll see tonight, once it gets late in the game, and how those things unfold.
Clayton Kershaw, Game 6, Saturday. Must win for the Cubs tonight?
Well, never a must win till you must win. However, the way the aces are lined up, ours tonight, theirs Saturday night, we know the results of that could be a Game 7. So we need this one tonight, Lou.
All right. For my partner, Bob Dernier, also George Smith and Dane Flacco, I'm Lou Canellis. Coming up, Game 5 of the National League Championship Series from Dodger Stadium. Thanks for watching, everyone.